Hey guys, it's Specter and I'm here with Ego Likeness. This is Donna and Steve. Ego Likeness. I've been kind of obsessively listening to Breathless lately. That's your newest album, right?
Yes.
Okay, and right before that we had South, which was a lot of cool remixes. So far in the EPs we've got South and North and West. We've got another one, maybe, coming soon?
Yeah, and it's really not an EP at this point anymore. It's gonna have like 2 or 3 new songs and a cover, and then just a whole bunch of remixes from Terrafact and Angel Spit and all these other people. So.
Yeah, that's one of the things I really like about the EPs is they always have a lot of collaborations with people. So is that something that you guys, is that like something you like to do? Is just be like, hey, take this and make something out of it?
It's always neat seeing what other people can do with it.
Yeah.
And I love doing it for other people, so that's what she said.
So tell me a little bit about the concept behind Breathless.
Breathless was sort of written as from the viewpoint of the demon Lilith. She's come back and she's looking around at the planet and sees what people have done and is sort of questioning why, her ilk has such a bad reputation when people are doing a perfect job messing everything up.
Yeah.
And it was kind of funny because it was not intended to be a very personal album at all. It was very much character driven, but it sort of morphed into this very intensely personal album, completely unintentionally.
Yeah, to the point that when we realized what it was, like what had happened, it was really effective. It was like being hit with a sledgehammer, at least for me. It was very much like, wow, apparently we knew a lot more about, our lives than we thought we did. And
that would have surprised me if you had said, that it wasn't a personal album, because I feel that when I listen to it. And there are a lot of concepts that I was familiar with. But there are a couple of songs I wanted to ask you about maybe, especially I'm very much, I'm really excited about The Queen of All Things Taken. It's one of my favorite songs on the album, and I've listened to it more times than I wish to admit. So can you kind of talk about the story about that a little bit? Or?
That one sort of just came from imagery. I just saw, the character Lilith sort of sitting there, and it's kind of a revenge tale. It's sort of like, look, if you're going to go out and do this, and you're going to take things from people's lives and hurt them, then I just want you to know what it feels like too. And it was one of those songs that just sort of started with one of the phrases, and I had the chorus, just kind of stuck in my head, that line, "Bring me thieves to me," she said, and I might show them what it means to lose. That was pretty much the starting of it, and I built the rest of the song around that.
Because I write lyrics and do vocals also, and one of the things that we do whenever we're starting a song is sometimes it starts with a key, sometimes it starts with a sentence that I have in my head. Do you all always, like you're saying, you always go in with a concept saying, okay, this is what I want the song to be about? Or
no, the songwriting process for us is actually very separate because Steve writes the majority of the music and I do the majority of the lyrics and the vocal parts and the vocal melodies. So he'll give me, 50 parts of things that he's working on and say, pick 10. And then, we just keep chipping it down until, we find 1 or 2 that it's really working. And then at that point he hands it back to me. And then I start, and, lyrically, I usually do just start with a phrase. Like, we were just talking about that the other day. Like, I don't know if I've ever written a song, or I can't remember the last time I wrote a song just sort of from beginning to end. Yeah. Oh yeah, Wolves, yeah. Kind of just came out as it was.
That way.
But most everything else starts with one phrase, and then I build off of that.
But we do know what the overall arc is, or whatever the overall concept is. Like, we'll spend a lot of time with each album ahead of time to say, okay, well, where are we? What do we think is important?
Yeah, we do talk a lot about where.
Like, the album was called Breathless for 2 years before the songs were written. We knew what it was, and before the song Breathless existed. So once we kind of figured out the overall kind of theme of what we were doing, then it's a lot easier to start filling in the holes.
I liked the title of this album. That's one thing I've always liked about Ego Likeness is that even though, and I've kind of experienced that where you'll have like 700 riffs, and then each riff, you know, starts with a sound, and then the sound will bring an image, and the image will become lyrics or vocals, and I can relate to that. But I like how with your band, especially, each album seems to be a story of things. Mm-hmm. And this one, it just seemed to me like I guess you're saying it was the character and. There's an overall concept, but it seems like there are a bunch of stories from, you know, all kinds of cultures and everywhere.
There definitely are, but I think that I was able to reconcile that pretty easily because I figure, you know, when she's this demon, she is all cultures and she is all people, and, you know, she's been there and done that and seen all of it. So I really, you know, I love borrowing from different mythologies, and that was a good medium to do that with, because I didn't have to, even though, you know, traditionally she does have her own, you know, lineage, but as a concept and as a construct, the idea of a demon, you know, you can make that be whatever you want it to be.
And I see that reflected a lot in things like Everything is Poison, as opposed to, you know, The Queen of All Things Taken. And I also see that a lot in your artwork, and those fantastic photos you always get. His name escapes me.
Kyle Cassidy.
Kyle Cassidy.
.com.
.com.
That is actually his
On the underbar.
Yeah.
Kyle Cassidy.
Yeah, nobody even knew about that when he was born, but you know, it just happened to all work out.
Sweet. He's his own brand name. Awesome. Me too. But I really like the imagery in this album a lot, especially the front cover. I like the apple. I think that's great. And I liked, I guess it was South. I mean, the giant smokestack, I think it was on South.
With the
poster.
It was the poster that we did, from the same shoot as the cover. Yeah.
So when do you think we can expect East?
Well, we're going on tour, and then we're home for a day, and then we're doing Dragon Con, and then we're doing our show, and then we're home for like 3 weeks, and then we're going back on tour. So,
Somewhere
you know, realistically, like
2 hours now.
Yeah, I mean, the instrumental parts for the new stuff is basically written. It's just kind of finding the time to put it all together.
I think that's probably what I wanted to wrap up with is I'm trying to, one thing that I really like to do is there are a lot of people in where I live who are like, I'm going to be in a band. And they just wake up one day, they're like, I'm going to be in a band. They have no money, and even if they have exquisite talent, I don't really think that people understand how much work it takes to be in a band. And you guys are full-time. I mean, my joke is that you're traveling nomads. You're performing nomads because you live on the road, you know, and what do you think, what in your opinion is something that people who have never toured in their life, even just in America, don't really expect? My problem was driving, because I was helping out 2 bands and I'm in 2 dance troupes and I'm always driving, and it's really hard when you're in a car of people and you're driving to Dragon Con for 15 hours by yourself.
You have to be willing to give up every bit of comfort. Everything that you have at your house that makes you comfortable, you have to operate under the assumption that you will not have that for whatever length of time you're on the road.
You kind of have to find your comfort in yourself and be okay in that headspace, because everybody else is tired and hungry and bored and...
Right, Mike Johnson? By the way, can we introduce
Yes,
Mike
please. Mike Johnson.
He's got food in his mouth.
Now with Mike Johnson.
Yes, Ego Likeness. Now with more Mike Johnson.